Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday live stream. So, as like thumbnail and title suggests, we're going to talk about how this time is different. And there's some little idiosyncrasies that are going on in the background, but all in all, nothing to really panic about. But I will tell you, as far as panic, it goes a long way, and there sure is no loss of bearish sentiment more recently. And if we can take a look at this, this is from a little post that I put out yesterday, or a couple of days ago, I should say, where this was the actual messages that I got in the comments section from a recent video. And I've not seen it this bearish since 2022, or in between 2021, between April and November. So we'll take a look. This is from Jan Kaufman. Bitcoin is like a corpse floating in the water and will sink to the bottom at any moment. Bronco says it's over. John says, you're forgetting about one thing, Rob. We're in the depths of a government shutdown. It could very well go into December. I got to tell you, that shutdown needs to stop. At first, it was all fun and giggles. But now when people aren't getting paid, it's a big issue. And then, of course, Mask here says Bitcoin's a lie, no altcoin season, and so on and so forth. We're going to keep seeing this more and more if we keep staying stagnant and really not going too many places. But if we take a look at it, as far as like risk levels go, we are below the 0.5, so we're teetering on this point where, you know, we can buy, we can sell, we could, well, I don't know about selling. I mean, some people will do it. I'm personally not, but below the key risk level of 0.5, I'm at 0.494. This is what I consider good buying times. Now, I'm not buying massively. I'm just dollar cost averaging, going across the way. But the thing is, why is this different? Why is it feel so different? What is there that we can take a look at? Well, there's many things we can take a look at, but if we take a look at one thing, as far as like, where are we as far as fear and greed? And I found this interesting today that everybody is so fearful. Even in the traditional markets right now, we're at extreme fear in TradFi on the S&P 500, even though we're hitting all-time highs. I think it's because everybody is just waiting for the shoe to drop and a recession to come in at any minute, which everybody thinks is going to happen. And usually when everybody thinks is going to happen, it doesn't happen for a while. But taking a look at, as far as fear and greed index for our markets, I like how you can shut off all the different color-coded fear and greed right now. And I know some people use the fear and greed index to buy and sell. I don't really think it's that great for selling, because I've seen it where we're pretty high, and we're at the ultimate greed, and we still keep going up by multiples. And I'm like, I don't think it's really good. But what I do like the fear and greed index is the lower the numbers are, the better it is to buy. When we're at extreme fear, which is between 0 and 10, look at these price points, or these dots. This is a great time, quite honestly. 15th of March 2020, price was 5,300. And of course, 15 March, 22 March, what else was it? 20th of March 2020, little thing called coronavirus. Everybody was just massively afraid. But you have to look at the context of where you are in the time frame. During this time, when the price of Bitcoin went down to 6,000, like, this is the worst thing ever. And the reason is because just about a year ago or so, it was $11,000. So you lost 50% of the value of Bitcoin, of course, price in dollars. So of course you were in extreme fear. Now looking back, you look at it like, that's ridiculous. I would love to buy it at $5,800, but it is what it is. Now we go into a little bit more fear. We're still in extreme fear, I would say. 8, 10, 14, all the way up to 19, 28. 0 to 10, 10 to 20. And you can see here that this would have been pretty good times to buy. I mean, 3rd of April, 82,000. What is this? 85,000 on the 1st of March. Back here, 6th of August, 56. I mean, who wouldn't love to just have bought it at 56,000? Again, I think it's a pretty good indicator. Now, as we go up, it's a little bit different, but we can see that right now, that's where we're at. Roughly fear at a level of 33 at a price of 110,000. I think years from now, we'll probably look at this, maybe even 6 months, I don't know, that this was a golden opportunity, but who knows? I know people say buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, but I got to tell you, I'm all dipped out. However, why is this different? Well, This one was just proven yesterday. We close out October, and historically speaking, 1 year past the halving is usually an extremely bullish month for October. And it happened in, like we said before, in 2020 was the last halving. Well, 2024 was the last halving. We should have had a nice green month, but we didn't. But in 2020 was the halving year. In 2021, massively bullish October. In 2016, we had a halving. 2017, massively bullish October. 2012, we had the halving, massively bullish October. And this October, negative 3%. And I will tell you, I find it quite interesting that negative 3.9% for October 2025 is almost the exact identical of 2018 at negative 3.9%, which is very odd because that is 1 year post all-time highs. And we're seeing the same numbers post-halving. So that's item number one. This time is different. It is definitely different. And we can definitely see that there. Now, let's take a look, and we talked about this many times, the Bitcoin return on investment after the halving. Again, we can take a look at the different cycles. Some people said that cycle one is actually multiple cycles, but get the point that from the bottom, or right after the halving, to the top here, in the first cycle here, which would be to 2013. Remember the first halving was 2012. It took around 371 days. And then, of course, the second one in 2017, of course, the halving was 2016. It took 524 days. And last time around, 2021, we had a halving in 2020. In 2021, it was 546 days. And this cycle, we have extended, and we are the longest, if we didn't top out on October 6th, of course. We're now at 560 days. So this time is different. Difference number two. And now difference number three, which we talked about, Bitcoin market cycle bottom, return investment. So of course the bottom was 2020, bottom was 2018, bottom was 14, excuse me. No, 2015, I should say it. And again, you can see how many days it was in the second cycle, 747, 1,067. Third cycle, interesting enough, was shorter, 1,061, which shocked a lot of people. But this one right now is the longest cycle from the bottom to the potentially blow off top. And then, of course, we can also take a look at it that the all-time high came before the halving in 2024. So that'll be the fourth one. And there's multiple things we can take a look at, which we've talked about before. And that's about it as far as the difference. So we know it's different. Does that mean that since there is difference here, that we don't keep having price appreciation? No, that's all I'm saying. And we can just take a look back to this one right here. The market cycle bottom return on investment. If we just isolate, let's take market 3 and 4, cycle 3 and 4. Market cycle 3, 2015, January 14th, that was the bottom. To the top, it was 1,067 days. And that was in 2017. Now this one here, we bottomed in 2018. And it took us less days to get to the top in 2021, 1,059. So this was different. Just because something is different doesn't mean that, okay, everything's out the window and we're not going to see some massive price appreciation. But again, it's anybody's guess what's really going on. I've actually asked this question, and the consensus is, well, you can see it right here. I said, okay, as of November 1st, which was today, we recorded the first down month in October. Post-halving year at negative 3.9. So this time is different. So who believes the cycle is over? And I can tell you, it's quite bearish in the comments section, but if I take a look at here, and there's about 500 votes. Actually, I had to redo this. There was another one I did with almost 600 votes, but it was roughly the same. And I would say that about 30, 32, and this one 34%. Everybody's saying it's over. And that's a big chunk, a third of people. But roughly half of people are saying, no. The cycle is going to go to 2026, which does make a lot of sense if we take a look at, I don't know, money supply, monetary policy, fiscal policy by the government, if they were going to ever open up, monetary policy by the Fed, especially as we start to get more rate cuts and Jerome steps down and somebody else comes in a little bit more dovish. And then we can see the advancements that are going on in crypto and so on and so forth. So is this time different? It is different. But maybe there is a little bit of an extension. I still believe in this one. Cycle's not over, Q2 in play, and I'm only 10% of the people that believe in that. But we'll see. So then the next thing people talk about is, well, Rob, this is different because we have an ETF, and this is following gold. And I say, well, if we follow gold as far as the ETF, how does that compare to the Bitcoin ETF? Here's what we got. So with gold, it's been around thousands of years, of course. It's a medium of exchange, a store of value, that's for sure. We can see that the price, as Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, the 70s going up. And of course, we had a massive run up. But the thing that you want to pay attention to is, when was the gold ETF? And the gold ETF was on November 18th, 2004, which coincidentally is 20 years to when we got our ETF, which was in January 2024. But they had a great run. Look at this, the very beginning, from November 18th, 2004 to September 5th. Interesting time frame, actually. September 5th. Just, 6 days before 9/11, 2011. Went to almost $2,000. Quite a run up. And we can see during that time, everybody focuses on that run up in the 7 years. And they also say, well, there's also drawdowns, just like what Bitcoin has. But they're focusing on the wrong thing. I'll explain. Bitcoin ETF came about January 11th, 2024. Thank you, Gary Gensler, the only one good thing that you possibly did for the crypto market. And it was at 45,000. And it peaked so far, October 6, 2005. So that's 45,126K. Gold went from $450 to almost $2,000 because of that US spot ETF. Bitcoin, 45,126,000. Pretty darn good. And that's only the first 2 years. Because for this one, you can see it was a 7-year run. And everybody looks at this and go, oh, well, let's just overlay this chart with the Bitcoin chart. But no, you have to understand that we're still extremely early. These are the first 2 years of the Bitcoin ETF. So what does that mean? Well, if we just take a look at what happened with gold, they had a nice 7-year run with some pretty nice pullbacks, right? What are we going through now? A little bit of a pullback and sideways chop action. But you can see over 7 years, if we follow the gold ETF, which people believe that it is, and we're out of the 4-year cycles, well, if that's the case, then I guess we will have an extended cycle. And now we just kind of sit back and wait for the pullbacks. Could be, could not be. But I will tell you, though, out of all those things, how things different, how there might be a little bit of fluctuation in the 4-year cycles. Again, I still believe we're going to get big appreciation in Q4. I know that sounds crazy, but we will see. We still have to take a look at what's going on in our sector. And this is a post from Coinbase, which I'm not a big fan of Coinbase, but they're all doing some pretty great things. And I'm going to start with the ones in yellow first, and we'll take a look at the greens. But in yellow, look at all the things that they've done. They've done a pretty great job. I'll give it to them. Tip of the hat. They partnered with Samsung to bring Samsung, nationally recognized brand, electronics. They've been encrypted to 75 million Galaxy users. They launched DEX trading in New York, they launched DEX trading to all US users except New York, because, New York is New York. And they hit $1 billion of on-chain loans, which I got to tell you, they hit $1 billion of on-chain loans, which people are putting up their Bitcoin as collateral. I've been down that road before. Hope it works out. But this is the thing, and this is why crypto and digital assets will win. In green, it states they started collaborating with Citibank, or Citi, to build the future of payments. They applied for a USOCC, National Trust Charter, to power the modern financial system. through digital assets. And they're launching Coinbase Pay tab, enabling peer-to-peer transactions and allowing Coinbase users to send money to over 100 plus countries using crypto. Why is that so important? And I know people don't like banks, but it is what it is. This is important because it shows you the power of a smaller company that can be nimble, can move, and it can give the people what they want, as opposed to the massive central banks that are out there that people somehow believe can beat a small, nimble company that has large backing. The European Central Bank is to accelerate the central bank digital currency plans, eyeing a potential 2029 digital euro rollout. Think about that for a second. You're telling me it's going to take another 3 years, and you know that's going to be delayed till 2030. And you don't think that we're going to run the roost with everything that's going on the next 3 to 4 years? And people are like, hey, you know, I know that we have all these nice stable coins built on the rails, which I personally have talked about, which are the best ones. The best ones are BESD, Binance, Ethereum, Solana, and Tron. But they think that they're going to get a foothold in the market when we've got really a 15-year, well, 10-year jump on them as they roll this out. I don't think that's going to happen, but I've been wrong before. So again, I think this is why digital assets will still accelerate and still will do well moving forward. And then don't forget, even the Treasury Secretary of the United States, which I know some people hate the current administration, not a big fan of everything they're doing, especially with the corruption and everything else that they got going on. But hey, at least they're good for some things, like crypto. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is a Bitcoin, not fanatic, but a fan, he says 17 years after the white paper, the Bitcoin network is still operational and more resilient than ever. Bitcoin never shuts down. And this is kind of funny. And Senator Dems could learn from that. It's kind of a good jab. So look, we have a lot of backing. We have a lot of good things going on. This time is different, which we've just taken a look at, but I'm not really too concerned about it. But I understand how people are a little bit, have it on their minds 24/7. Don't do that. I think some of the best investors, just like the Stanley Druckenmillers, the Paul Tudor Jones, the Warren Buffetts, really what they do is just invest, educate themselves, sit around and wait. That's all you got to do. Very simple. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe. We'll get into a little Q&A. Oh, shoot, there is one more thing I wanted to talk about real quick, which was just some housekeeping. Congratulations to Kraken. They had actually matched, they had a deposit match. I guess it's like not a contest, but you were getting like 2 or 2.5% if they reached a certain goal. And they raised $500 million, $500 million of people sending in their crypto to the exchange. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of sending things into the exchanges. I'm a fan of taking things off the exchanges, but hey, congratulations to Kraken for getting that done. Also, I did not know this for iTRUST, because I use iTRUST for my Roth IRA. Also, I use them for custodial services, which is the same custodial services that BlackRock and MicroStrategy use, which is Coinbase Prime. So I didn't know that you could stake your crypto that you have with their custodial services. You could stake it. And I was like, oh, so like if you got Ethereum in there or Solana, and you can stake both of those and they're holding it for custody. So if you want to maximize, the things that you're doing, and I got to tell you, if you're looking to be safe, I mean, I use a couple of TANGEMs, couple of ledgers, and I use the custodial service because, I mean, if somebody wrench attacks me or I do something stupid and I fall for a scam, at least they can't get everything in one fell swoop. I'll be protected, and that's what I got. And then, damn it, I forgot these two things too. Sorry, 2 things. First of all, what's going on with Tom Crowden and getting sued by James Wynn? I got to get Tom on the show because I saw that there's this thing going on with him. And if you know who James Wynn is, I think honestly he's just an AI generated individual who's doing every wrong call that you possibly can. This is actually quite funny. So I got to get Tom on the show, see why he's getting sued by James Wynn. And then lastly, if you or somebody you know has long COVID symptoms, COVID, remember that? Awful thing. Then my my man Wes over at Smart Money Tracking, he has long COVID symptoms, and he's had them for 2 years. And before anybody asks, no, he did not get the jab. He did not get the vaccine. He contracted COVID, and he's had these symptoms of mental fog, heart palpitations, severe weakness, and he's dealt with this for over 2 years. And he's dumped over 6 figures into figuring out what it is, and he's finally gotten the right track. And I've been bugging him forever to put this out on YouTube so people would know, because he spent so much money on himself, and he's done this throughout the world and gone to different specialists globally, that I want, if you know anybody who's got these long COVID symptoms, send him this video. There's a link in the description. It's long, but it's a lot of good stuff. And he goes over everything from infrared to diet. I know people are talking in the chats, zinc and vitamin D, magnesium, nicotine, some other ingestibles, and some. It's just amazing. If you got it, anybody, share that with them. It's a great thing. Good job for Wes for putting that out. And that's it for today. Sorry that took so long. Like today's video, like and subscribe. Now let's get into a little Q&A. All right. It's a shame, but well, I mean, Wes is doing good. Like when I talked to Wes, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I mean, he was really doing bad. Like you guys haven't seen him. You saw him do the videos, but he would do a video and wipe him out for like the full day. He couldn't do anything. So I'm just glad that he's on the right path. And interesting thing about how he's using antibiotics to clear out the lining as far as the healthy gut microbiome, and what he's reintroducing for that and how that's actually helping. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, he made it. I mean, he's a young kid. I mean, I say he's young. He's not that young. Let's see. Mullet says, we never pay attention to Dan. Good enough. Audra says, all due respect, I think the Trump administration did as much harm to crypto as they have brought benefit. Yeah, maybe. Look, let's be honest. Every single politician has their flaws, because unfortunately, every politician is a human being and they screw up left and right. Now, I personally am not a big fan of anybody, but you take the good with the bad. I know some people think that it's all bad. Some people say it's all good. Usually, I think the majority of people are right in the middle. That's what it is. Did anyone hear what Rob had to say? I was busy in the chat. See, this is why we do the live streams. I was thinking about changing the whole format just to recorded videos, and I'm like, well, this is the best part of the show, so why would I do that? Too much manipulation? Thanks. I will do that next cycle via ETFs. Very nice. Okay is correct. Just buy, hold, sell. It's very simple. Yeah, and Mr. Bird raises the alarms with digital ID, digital stable coins, social credit scores. I don't know if you guys have seen that video that goes around. And I don't even know if it's true. Actually, I'm not even going to bring it up. Forget what I just said, because I don't have enough background to say it, but it looks like social credit scores and people who are homeless in specific countries. Kranskinator says, look, if we see an extended cycle that runs through 2026 without major downside corrections, the next halving will be front run. In my opinion, one more year of even sideways and it pops. You can look at it either two ways. You can take a look at it and go, okay, on one side, people are saying that's it. Like we've shot our load, and that's all. From here on out, it only starts to either go sideways or just trend down, and then we'll maybe get a pump in 4 more years. But that was the top, and I'll see you guys in 4, which I don't think that's really the best strategy. But I mean, you could do that. I personally still think that we have a way to go. I am under the guidance that because of the Bitcoin ETF, it kind of allowed a lot of institutional players to come in, and they don't move the needle as much as, say, like retail, because they're buying so much OTC. So I mean, it's just one thing. And then, of course, there's the derivatives, and there's perps, and there's people getting liquidated, and that just screws up the whole thing. Because people they're buying paper Bitcoin when they're doing this. And then people look to the perp market, and people getting liquidated, like, oh, they must know something. They don't know anything. They're just a bunch of gamblers. And then because of that, and of course what happened on October 10th with Binance and everything, screwing everything up. Thanks, Binance. Have you noticed that every time we got a problem since 2021, not every time, I shouldn't say it like that, but big problems, it's because of a damn centralized exchange? Celsius, Voyager, FTX, now October 10th, and the massive liquidations that should not have happened, which I got to tell you, what was reported and what in actuality it was way different than what it is. So you just look at that and take a step back and go, damn it, maybe we'd be better out without you guys. And we would. The only problem is that I need an on and off ramp. Wish they would just stick with that, but I'm just wishful thinking. Future millionaire. Rob, here's a hypothetical. How do you think this bull run would have gone if the other political party had won the presidential election? I don't think that the Kamala Harris administration really, well, I will tell you this. I think Gary Gensler would still be in the SEC. And if Gary Gensler was still in the SEC and didn't want to cede any power to the CFTC or the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency or the OCC, and we dictated rules and laws that way, and then if it's not so much as that party, but it's who would have controlled Congress. And if you still had a majority in the Senate and the majority in the House, and you had Democrats all the way through, for the majority of Democrats, now there's some Democrats that are really on board with this. I would say, there's a good portion. But when you have a majority, it seems like you could kind of go in lockstep with your party. I don't make the rules. It's just pretty much how it works. So like, look, if you want me to vote for this, you better vote for that. And then before you know it, the things that's like Elizabeth Warren, she hates us, quite honestly. And if she could have her foothold and talking to everybody, I think it would be bad for crypto, but it would have been some good for some other things. I don't know. So we'll see. Although I would tell you that I don't think Kamala Harris's daughter would have been selling us a crappy meme coin that shouldn't have ever been sold. Can Bobby buy all the poo coins to pump everything on board? Bobby has already lost too much in his ridiculous gambling. So he's no help. He's worthless. I just took 20% off the table, so market will probably moon now, but I'm flush with dry powder. So what's your way to go? You know what? That's the way to do it. Why not do it like that? Be like my dog. Just be there, lay down, relax, do nothing. That's it. Hey. All right. She doesn't work there. That's the way to be. Hopefully I get reincarnated as a dog when I come back. Shaolin says, you hate Coinbase, but their credit card is awesome. I keep a small bag of 10K in Coinbase, and I get 2.5% returns. You always told to diversify your Bitcoin custody. Shaolin's right. And you know why? It's because the very first rule that we have, which put this in, is it's all gone. Or don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Shaolin keeps $10,000 on Coinbase to do whatever he wants to do on Coinbase, right? Is that what he can afford to lose? Probably. So there's a difference between like saying doing that and then doing the FTX Voyager Celsius move, which is I'm going to put everything on the exchange, my entire life savings, my kids' college fund, and everything that I possibly have just for some yield. And hopefully it doesn't go down. There's a big difference between what Shaolin doing and that. So I support that. That's fine. But that would supersede the rule, don't leave things on exchanges. I think the first rule is the cardinal rule. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And everything else after that, like if you want to get into some scam coin, that's the second rule. If you want to leave things on exchange, that's the third rule. If you want to use leverage on something you can afford to lose, that's the fourth rule. Go right ahead. And of course, take profits. So that was a good way to definitively talk about those rules. Thank you, Shalom. Appreciate that. Bingo. Ben Wise, I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of all you guys for stopping by and hanging out with me as I give you bad news and not just hopium. It always amazes me that people are smart enough in this world to realize that not everything is hopium. Thank you. You have reinvigorated my appeal to the human race. Let's see. Recommendations for place to stay for a week in Puerto Rico. My wife, 2 boys, and I. Depends on what you want to. Well, you probably want to stay somewhere close to Ocean Park. A lot of great things to do over there. And if I could recommend a couple of restaurants, I would say number one would be Bottles, which is in Guaynabo, which is fantastic food. And there's another one called Caminito, which is an Argentinian steak restaurant, which is fantastic. But outside of that, stick to the beaches, stick to Condado if you can in that area, and then Ocean Park, because there's a lot of things for the tourists and stuff to do, and do that. And yeah, that's where I would stay. But if you hate tourism, I would go to Guaynabo. That's a way better place, just to be quiet, get away from everybody. Keith says, hey, Rob, how are you today? Hope all is well. The cycle was front run. Yeah, I mean, look, the VCs and the smarter individuals who wanted to have big money in front runners, they did a good job. And now we're just sitting here just kind of silently waiting. But we'll see what November and December brings. This is a family show, exactly. Probably you should do something in Houston. I'd show up. Yeah, that'd be fun. Daughter still lives there. Grandson still lives there, so maybe. Ihalim, what do you think your name should be today, Rob or Dan? And if we're ever going to get any of the retail back, we won't get any retail back until people start calling me Dan again. So unfortunately, everybody's calling me Rob today, so I know retail is not here yet. Thursday morning. Solana killed off a lot of the retail. Well, it wasn't Solana. You know what it was? It was a bunch of meme coins, which I guess were built on Solana, but you can't blame that. That was just junk projects and VCs getting into it. Nuker says the number of people Googling Bitcoin is much lower than prior cycles. Retail interest is in the mud. Yeah, I think more people they're starting to get a little bit frothy on the AI side, which I can see why. I mean, everybody uses AI, right? Who doesn't use ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity or whatever else? Everybody can use it. They can use it right now, and it's cheap and it's easy, and you can make yourself more productive or smarter or do other things. Or you can, there's a really good school called Alpha School. They're using artificial intelligence to teach kids in 2 hours a day what takes 8 hours. It's excellent. So I can see why people are getting into the AI play as opposed to like crypto. But again, at some point, if you're taking a look at, monetary policy and where you want to go to, and as far as like the debasement trade, you got to understand what's happening with the debasement of the currency, especially in the United States, as the dollar weakens. And people should be getting into Bitcoin just for safety reasons. I know people are getting into gold until they realize what the spread was. And then when they go to, first of all, we talked about this like a couple weeks ago, the spread on gold, depending on where you're at, it's between 3 and 5%. 3% is the positive spread when you're buying it. And then when you're selling it, guess what? You got to do another spread, 3%, because the people that sell it to you got to make money. And that's just in some places. Other places, it's 5%. So you got to go up 10% to make a profit. Once they figure that out, they're like, maybe I shouldn't have had all this. Maybe I'll take a look at maybe Bitcoin. Maybe the spreads aren't so bad. Maybe I'll watch Rob's video on how to beat the spreads, which is in every description of all of his videos, called How to Beat the Spreads. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, yeah. And the MEXC debacle that is going on. I don't know what's happening with that, but it gives me some 2022 vibes. If you don't know, there's a trader that had his funds of almost $3 million plus locked on MEXC. There was some back and forth, and the person that's involved with customer relations came out and said, I apologize, it was my fault, blah, blah, blah. Funds are going back out to you, and that's okay. Then other people talked about, hey, there's been a lot of people removing their funds from MEXC. Usually when we see a lot of people remove funds from an exchange, that's actually a pretty bullish sign. Stick with me. Especially when we see like things of like Coinbase and Binance and things, there's a big outflow. They're like, oh, they're putting into custody and they're not selling it. It is a bearish type of situation when you see a lot of people put money onto exchanges, because what do you do when you put, or money, what do you do when you put crypto on exchanges? You swap it for dollars or whatever currency it is, because you're going to sell it. So when people are talking about, hey, they're taking a bunch of things out next year, like, that's great. Looks like they're going to, keep it on there, or keep it off, I should say. And now people are saying, no, there might be a run on the bank. MEXC came out just roughly 12 hours ago and said, hey, look, we have no problems. You can check this thing called a Merkle tree, which you can verify. All of our assets are still there. Here is the link. We have no problems whatsoever. And that's what they said so far. Now, things can change at the drop of a hat. That's why you got to pretty much lock in. And again, if you just follow the rules like we talk about, don't invest more than you can afford to lose because it's all gone. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise, and don't leave everything on exchanges. Then you'll be just fine. I put those rules in there not to waste my breath. I put those rules in there so I could beat it in everybody's heads. That's why. Hey, welcome. Thanks. Yeah, got a little allergies, I guess. It was also the insiders and market maker and Solana. Rob, don't sugarcoat it. Oh, yeah, that's true. Insiders are always going to be there, right? That's why congressmen and women are such good day traders, because they have inside information. Cat2 says, hey, Rob, you still desync a SWI? No. No, I had enough. I got enough bags. I'm good with SWI. These days, it's mostly, Bitcoin. Then I get a little risky with the best. Binance, Ethereum, Solana, and Tron. And that's it. Also, I'm in talks with Kraken to put that on their exchange of just being able to buy the best. Binance, Ethereum, Solana, Tron. See how that goes. What else we got? My Rusty Bot says, my nation sold 99% of their gold in 2004. Why did I sound so proud? Our leaders are not that smart. They're not investors. They're just politicians. I'm a Tracer Maxi, rumors of a Maxi, that we talked about it. And I think that's it. Sweet. And we'll leave it here. Kraken's great. I have bits and pieces staking on Kraken for years, no issue at all. Yeah, Kraken's been around since 2011. I know people will say, like, right, we talk about Kraken a lot. Do they sponsor you? No, but the DMs are open. They'd like to. That's it for tonight, everybody. So 37 minutes, I think that's pretty good. It's Saturday. Relax. It's going to be okay. And this is why, like, the last rule is, take profits. There's a reason why, like, some people are really amped up and some people are just like, see what happens. It just comes down to risk management. That's all. So, if you lost some and you're feeling bad, don't worry. If you don't like the price, just wait a little bit. It'll change. That's it for tonight, everybody. So thanks so much for stopping by. Tomorrow, we'll have the great Jerry V. Hall from Costa Rica joining us, and we'll talk about what the heck is going on. That's it for tonight. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.